The Ricky Nelson mystery finally solved. It's not good news. Ricky Nelson was born Eric Hilliard Nelson on May 8, 1940 in Teaneck, New Jersey. His parents were Ozzie and Harriet Nelson, two famous entertainers back then. Ricky was pretty much born into show business. When he was little, he was part of the entertainment world, appearing with his family on a popular radio show and later TV show called The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. This show told stories about the everyday life of the Nelson family and became something that American families loved to watch during the 1950s and early 60s. As he grew up in front of millions of viewers, Ricky's charm, good looks, and natural talent made him a huge hit with audiences. Like many other child actors, Nelson was able to break away from just being known as a family sitcom star by starting a really successful music career at a time when rock and roll was still thought of as bad. By older people, Ricky Nelson became one of its most respected and lasting stars. He recorded his first song, I'm Walking, in 1957. It was a cover of Fats Domino's hit, and it quickly went to the top of the music charts. This first song not only started his second career as a rock and roll singer, but also made him a teen idol, all by himself. During the late 1950s and into the 1960s, Ricky Nelson kept making hit after hit with songs like Hello Mary Lou, Travelin' Man, Poor Little Fool, Lonesome Town, and It's Late. His smooth, pretty voice and clean-cut look helped make rock music easier for regular people to like and got him a group of fans who really loved him. He was one of the first teen stars to appear on TV all the time, bringing rock music to millions of Americans in their living rooms. This was something that showed what would happen later with bands like the Beatles. By age 21, he had already sold millions of records and had become one of the best-selling male singers of his time. But Ricky Nelson's career was not always easy. As music tastes started to change in the mid-1960s, Nelson had trouble staying at the top of the charts. Instead of following the new trends, he chose to grow as an artist, trying out a more grown-up country rock sound. This changed to him starting the Stone Canyon Band, a group that would help create the country rock style of music, something later used by bands like the Eagles. In 1972, he put out the thoughtful song Garden Party, which became a huge comeback hit. The song was inspired by a disappointing show he did at Madison Square Garden, whereas the audience only wanted his old hits. The song was like a brave statement about being true to your art and being real. It sent a powerful message. You can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself. Besides his amazing success as a recording artist, Ricky Nelson also made a big name for himself in the world of movies and television, showing off his many talents as both an actor and singer. His time on screen started in 1952 with the fun family comedy Here Come the Nelsons, a movie I thought used his famous family spolarity. Just a year later, Nelson got a small but memorable part in the story of Three Loves in 1953, a movie made by MGM and directed by the famous Vincente Minnelli. In this movie, Nelson played a young version of Farley Granger's character, showing his early skill for bringing characters to life on the big screen. As Nelson became more popular through his music career and the hit TV show The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, his talents caught the attention of major Hollywood directors, one of the most important moments of his movie career happened in 1959, when the famous director Howard Hawks picked him to play a gunslinger in the classic western Rio Bravo, acting alongside of famous actors John Wayne and Dean Martin. Nelson's role brought fresh energy to the movie, and Hawks himself said that Nelson's magnetic presence was a big reason why the movie made so much money at theaters. Nelson kept building his acting career by working with well-known stars. In 1960, he worked with the charming Jack Lemmon in The Wackiest Ship in the Army, a funny war movie that became popular in Naughto-Inspire, a TV series. Though Nelson himself did not play his role again for the TV show, always wanting to try different types of roles, he made guest appearances on shows like General Electric Theater, where his episode The Wish Book showed his acting skills beyond his musical fame. In 1965, Nelson took the main role in Leuvened Kisses, a romantic comedy that was a special family project written and directed by his father, Ozzie Nelson. The movie also had Jack Kelly in it, and it let Ricky blend his acting skills with his charm and musical talents, making a sweet and entertaining movie. Nelson's TV guest spots became a regular part of his career during the late 1960s and 70s. He played Theophamus, outlaw Jesse James in an episode of Hondo, appeared in the old-fashioned western The Overthiel Gang in 1969, alongside older actors Walter Brennan and Pat O'Brien, and kept making appearances in popular series like McCloud, The Streets of San Francisco, Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law, Petrocelli, and A Twist in the Tale. One really memorable guest role was on The Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries, where Nelson played Decker actor Tony Eagle. The episode notably showed his acting, but also highlighted his singing talents as he performed several of his well-known hits, making fans of both his music and acting work happy. Nelson also appeared on the beloved The Love Boat, adding to his long list of different TV roles. As his career moved into the 1980s, Nelson kept taking supporting roles in TV movies like 3 on a Date and the teen comedy High School USA in 1983, proving that his lasting charm and talent kept him wanted across many entertainment platforms. Whether in movies or on TV, Ricky Nelson's acting career was a lively and exciting part of his many-sided artistic legacy. During his teenage years, Ricky Nelson became one of America's most loved teen idols, winning the hearts of millions with this clean-cut image, smooth voice, and boyish charm. With such fame came intense attention from fans and the media, and it was no surprise that he attracted the love of many young women. Ricky, like most teenagers, was eager to explore romantic relationships, and he dated a number of girls during these important years. However, despite his popularity and independence, Ricky's mother, Harriet Nelson, had a big influence over his personal life. Harriet was not only a guiding mother figure, but also his co-star on the family's long-running TV series, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. She had strong beliefs about proper behavior, good manners, and the importance of keeping a respectable public image, especially in the bright lights of Hollywood spotlight. Harriet did approve of many of the young women Ricky brought home, or was seen with, often feeling that they did not meet the standards she wanted for her son. Her worries were not only about class or proper behavior, but also about Ricky's career path. She believed his focus should stay firmly on building a lasting and respected career in music and acting, rather than being distracted by short-lived romances. Her protectiveness may have come from both a mother's instinct and her deep understanding of fame could easily ruin a young star's life. Ricky, though often respectful of his mother's wishes, felt conflict between personal desires and professional expectations. This tension was a repeating theme in his teenage years and early adulthood. Eventually, however, Ricky fell in love with a young woman who seemed to meet Harriet's approval, Kristen "Chris" Harmon. The two were married in April 1963 in a much-publicized wedding that brought together two well-known American families. Chris was the daughter of Heisman Trophy-winning football star Tom Harmon and 1940s movie actress Elise Knox. The Harmons were longtime friends of the Nelsons, and the marriage was seen as a natural and good match. Two children of Hollywood royalty coming together in what many fans thought was a fairy tale wedding. Both families shared a deep connection through entertainment and public life, and this marriage in many ways showed a continuation of their legacies. Ricky and Chris went on to have 4 children together. Their first child, Tracy Christine Nelson, followed in her father's footsteps, and Beckham, an actress, making a name for herself with roles in TV and movies, including the series Father Dowling Mysteries. Later, Kreese gave birth to twin sons, Gunnar Eric Nilsson, Matthew Gray Nelson, who goes her father's musical talent and charm. In the early 1990s, the twins become commercially successful with their rock band Nelson, which became the first family act in history to have 3 Generation Sif hitmakers. Their hit song, I Can't Live Without Your Love and Affection, reached #1 on the Billboard charts in 1990. The couple's youngest child, Sam Hilliard Nelson, named in honor of Ricky's father, Ozzie Nelson, whose middle name was Hilliard, also found his way in theater arts, though he mostly stayed out off the spotlight compared to his siblings. Despite the outward image of a perfect family, Ricky and Chris' marriage faced growing challenges. As the years passed, the problems began to get worse following the birth of their last child, as differences in lifestyle, personal growth, and emotional distance began to make the gap between them wider. Ricky's touring schedule and desire to restart his music career often kept them on the road, while Kreese reportedly struggled with the responsibilities and pressures of family life. There were also rumors of cheating and growing emotional disconnects. What appeared to be a glamorous union between 2 public figures slowly fell apart in private under the weight of personal issues and conflicting priorities. The couple's relationship got worse throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, leading to separation and eventually to a long and painful legal battle over custody, finances, and public image. Their divorce was finalized in December 1982, marking the end of a nearly 2-decade-long marriage. Though the legal proceedings were emotionally hard for both Ricky and Kreese, they each devoted to their children, trying to keep a sense of stability for them despite the family upheaval. Ricky in particular was deeply affected by the end of the marriage, and it influenced some of the more sad themes in his later music. For decades, fans of Ricky Nelson, teen idol, rock and roll pioneer, and TV star have wondered about the exact circumstances surrounding his tragic and early death. While some things were known early on, many key questions remained. Was it really a mechanical failure that caused the plane crash that killed him? Was there something more sinister behind the events of that terrible flight on December 31st, 1985? Over the years, the mystery surrounding Nelson's death became a subject of intense fascination and sorrowful curiosity. Now, after years of investigation, expert analysis, and newly found accounts from witnesses and insiders, the full story has finally come into focus, and what it reveals is far from comforting. At the heart of the mystery lies the small DC-3 plane. Ricky and his band were flying in on their way to a New Year's Eve concert in Dallas, Texas. Early reports claimed that a mechanical issue, perhaps involving a broken heater or electrical short, caused a fire on board, leading to the crash near DeKalb, Texas. The plane caught fire in midair, and while the 2 pilots miraculously survived, Ricky Nelson, his fiancée Lynn Blair, and 5 band members died in the fire. In the wake of disaster, rumors began to spread, some blaming drug use, others pointing fingers at poor maintenance, while still others wondered about sabotage or hidden foul play. For years, the cause was shrouded in official confusion. The National Transportation Safety Board eventually ruled that the fire started in the cabin, likely due to a broken heater, but they could not determine the exact source of ignition. Meanwhile, speculation ran wild in tabloids and among fans. Whispers of rebasing cocaine based on rumors that drug equipment had been found at Thessaly fueled a darker story that many believed unfairly hurt Nelson's image. However, toxicology reports found no drugs or alcohol in Nelson's system, and no solid evidence ever linked the fire to drug use. Still, the cloud of uncertainty lingered for decades. leaving an open wound for his family and a haunting question mark for fans. What finally brought resolution were a series of investigative breakthroughs made possible by the persistence of aviation historians, forensic analysts, and journalists who were determined to uncover the truth. Previously overlooked technical records, combined with new interviews with aviation mechanics and these surviving pilots, revealed a much clearer and more disturbing picture. The aircraft, a World War II negligence DC-3, had been poorly maintained and was operating under questionable safety conditions. Despite being aware of repeated problems with the heater system problems that had been noted, Andy Van complained about on previous flights, the plane's operators failed to address them adequately. More damningly, the heater had been jury-rigged in a way that made it a ticking time bomb, with makeshift repairs that did not comply with aviation safety standards. The heater was located just beneath the cabin floorboards, close to flammable materials. And when it malfunctioned in the flight, it sparked a fire that rapidly filled the cabin with smoke and toxic fumes. The lack of an onboard fire extinguisher and fire retardant insulation gave the passengers knock-ins. Ricky Nelson and the others likely died from smoke inhalation before the crash landing. According to forensic reports, the pilots managed to escape through the cockpit windows, but for everyone in the cabin, it was too late. The most chilling revelation was not just that the fire could have been prevented, but that people responsible for the aircraft knew it was dangerous and allowed it to fly anyway. In hindsight, the flight was a catastrophe waiting to happen. The final mystery, how such a prominent figure could die in a preventable tragedy, was finally answered, but not with the kind of closure that brings peace. Instead, Etha's brought renewed sadness and outrage. Ricky Nelson, a beloved entertainer, who had grown from child star to musical legend, was lost not to fate or personnel failure, but to human negligence and systemic oversight. The truth now laid bare is hard to swallow. It paints a painful portrait of an avoidable disaster and reminds us that even icons are vulnerable when those tasked with their safety fail them. Ricky Nelson's legacy as a cultural figure endures, but circumstances of his death serve as a grim, cautionary tale, a reminder that mysteries, when finally solved, don't always bring comfort. Sometimes they only deepen the tragedy.